All right, everyone. Thank you for being here. This is episode 58 of Boss Talks. I have a great guest today, Dana Duckworth. She is a big speaker out there. Hire her. And by the end of this, you're going to want to hire her. So she has been in the industry for quite a while. She started on the property management side. She jumped to the vendor side. I believe she worked for rent. Then she went to PM again. And then she was with Zumper. Now she's on her own. But you know what? She's busy. She's busy, busy, busy. And she's doing some great things. She's consulting. She's coaching. She's got a podcast. And I've listened to the two. Well, I think one of them. I only had the opportunity to listen to one, but it was great. The Hilariously Unemployed, which I love the title. What's not to love about that? Really helping people seek and find opportunities in the midst of, well, the hard thing of finding a job, which I must say, I've been there. It's not fun. So why not laugh about it a little bit, right? So really excited to have her today. She has a great background. You can read her bio in the social posts and other areas. And in general, I just have had so many people say that Dana must be on Boss Talks. So excited to have her. She is also an award winner this year at NAA. I had the great privilege of meeting her there, having her on a little mini sesh in our booth for Community Boss. So again, she's a big personality. She's a lot of fun. Really privileged and grateful to have her here today. Before we get there, I'm your host, Evan Happel. I'm with Community Boss. We have a great solution for the property management space, really helping you manage all those physical spaces of your community, whether that's parking, amenities, or mapping. We can even generate revenue and ancillary income for your community. So talk to me about it. I'd love to tell you more about that solution. But today we are talking to Dana. So let's bring her to the show.
Hey, big speakers here, y'all.
Yeah, big speaker. Yeah, and it's funny because let's see, somebody was saying you're right up there with Ty. And I was like, okay. So we got some personality. All right, Ty Jackson. I had Ty earlier, a few months ago on the show. And I think it was her and some others that probably Aishia and others that have been on the show as well that have definitely recommended you and said, Dana's got to get on Boss Talks. So I'm glad to have you.
I'm happy to be here, Evan. Yes, Ty is my tall twin. I am the short one. I'm 5'1". She is not. And we do carry that same energy around. So it is a pleasure to be here. I'm super excited to chat with you, to chat with your audience about all things being a boss and a big speaker.
Yeah, that's right. Yes. And you're bringing your whole boss self here, and I appreciate it. And for anybody that didn't see it, when I met her at NAA, she had just won her award. Now, what was your award for again?
I am the 2023 DEI Champion of the Year.
Fantastic. I'm so happy that you were able to win that. I mean, that's a great honor. Something that, most people can't say they got an NAA award. So let's just say that first.
It's right here in case anyone anybody wanted to see it. It is here, right?
That is awesome.
I keep it close because it means so much to me.
No, that's awesome. Well, yes, thanks for being here. Thanks for sharing about that a little bit too. Before we get into it, I have 3 questions I like to ask all my guests so that we can just get comfortable. Not that you need a lot of help with that, but it's still fun to get to know the guest a little bit before we get into things. So my first question is always, when it comes to building community, what is your way, both personally and professionally?
Well, if you know anything about Speak Up Dana and my brand, the key to inclusion for me is transparency. So I tell a lot of my business, y'all, and that's how I've created a community around myself in the industry and for my brand and my new podcast. So I would say transparency. And then personally, I'm just authentic and genuine. So if somebody meets me and we connect, it's a genuine connection and something that we'll continue to build on.
That's great. I mean, it's a good way to build a relationship and community is to be yourself, I would say. Nobody likes people that are fake. It's kind of nauseating if you ask me, to be around people that
Yeah,
are,
no fake friends
being
around here.
themselves.
All
No,
the
no.
real.
Yes. No, it's good. Appreciate that. All right. So when it comes to building community, a great way to do that is having people over for dinner. So sharing some hospitality.
Mhm.
So for you, what would you make them for a meal or order? Either
Mhm.
way, it's
Mhm.
okay if you don't want to cook. But what is that special meal that you would provide somebody?
I would make them bring the meal and I would provide the wine.
Wow, that's a new one. I haven't heard that one before. Having the guests bring the meal, but
Yes.
provide the wine.
You
Okay.
bring the food, I'll bring the red wine, okay? Like, I have
Okay.
the table, you can have a seat at the table. I will put the food out fanciful. I will make sure you have all of the plate settings and everything that you need, but bring it on by, and I'll serve you up some
Okay.
wine.
All right. Is this not your favorite, the cooking?
Um, Cooking, it has to be for a special reason. So typically around holidays, one of the holidays that I celebrate where I cook for my entire family. So not just people who live in my house, but my entire family is Juneteenth. We celebrate
Okay.
that every year and I host it. And that's when I really go in. So it takes a lot of time, love, and energy for me to cook. I don't
Okay.
really like to do the express meals, but I will because I have teenage sons. So I will cook for them, but when I'm really pouring my all into it, it's typically around the holidays. And I mean, I'm doing everything from desserts to turkey to collard greens, mac and cheese. I'm putting it down. But on a regular weekday, if you're asking to come around here, you're gonna have to bring the meal because I already got the wine.
Nice. So, what is that special dish around Juneteenth or other holidays that you love making that is special?
Oh, it's a sweet potato pound cake. It's so good.
Okay. Huh.
Hmm.
I've never had a pound cake that is sweet potato. Okay.
Delicious. Okay. Delicious.
Well, I want to try that. So,
We'll see what we can work out on the back end, Evan. If you try to come over for Juneteenth, you can have it because that's the only time I pulled out.
okay. All right. I'll make my way over. You're in Virginia?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm. You come on by on Juneteenth. We're gonna celebrate, and you can have a piece then.
Okay. All right. Well, that sounds really good. Actually, you know what? I think this is an opportunity to kind of educate
Mm.
myself and others on a way to celebrate Juneteenth in an authentic way, and that's very celebratory and authentic.
Yeah, so for me and my family, the way that we celebrate most things is through connecting with each other, spending quality time, and a lot of that quality time comes around food. Now, it's not
Mm,
going to be the healthiest, so you need to make sure you have your gym regimen right the day before and the day after. But typically, we celebrate around foods, and when it comes to Juneteenth, we celebrate around soul food because it's a part of our heritage. I also try to go with the theme because I'm extra. And I'll ask my family to wear the colors of the Pan African flag, which are red, green, and black, to celebrate Juneteenth and to celebrate our liberation.
that's great. Well, thanks for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Okay. So, last question is all about caffeine.
Hmm.
So, when it comes to that beverage of choice,
Yeah.
I used to say coffee, but now we're just opening the whole box up to whatever caffeinated beverage. What's your go-to? What's your favorite?
Okay, so I have two answers. One is Coke Zero. All right. Coke Zero sugar. I love it. 0 calories, taste amazing. But when we talk about coffee, and people have heard me, if you've listened to my podcast, you follow me on social media, you know that I am angling for a Dunkin' Donuts sponsorship because I literally go to Dunkin' every single day. And now that I'm hilariously unemployed, several of my friends have started to fund my Dunkin' latte habit because
Okay.
it's literally $8.19 per day. I love a great oat milk latte with 3 pumps of sugar-free vanilla, 2 pumps of regular caramel swirl, and whipped cream. Iced, of course.
Well, that's fantastic. And Duncan, if you're listening, I know you're probably not going to get sponsorships out here in Seattle. That's going to be a
Mhm.
hard
Oh,
sell for
obvious,
Duncan.
obviously.
But you know what? I don't even see Duncan here. They have left this market. It is
Oh,
gone.
man, it's so good. It's so
My kids really like Dunkin' Donuts. We were in New Mexico and we
Mhm,
went to a Dunkin' and they're like, I can get how many donuts for $1?
mhm. It's so good, man.
Yeah.
Coffee is just a lot stronger for me. I'm a person, I have an espresso, I have a Keurig, like, I'm a coffee girl. Imma drink it down, right? And I've done Starbucks for a long time, but I just found, especially after I got an espresso, my need for a much stronger coffee-based
Mm.
drink just kept getting enhanced. And I was tired of getting very expensive drinks that were not powering me through my day. So I made the switch to Dunkin', and I've been happy ever since.
Well, hey, I'm glad you found your go-to. And as one of our listeners, are you seeing the comments, by the way?
Yes, Adelia,
Okay.
Dana runs on Dunkin'. She
Yeah,
knows.
yeah.
She knows this is a fact. Coke Zero is definitely better than Diet Coke, Faith.
I
Thank you.
agree with that. I do agree with that. Yes, it is true. And the flavor is way better. I am
Mhm.
not a fan of Diet Coke, to be
Me
honest, but
either,
I
'cause
love yeah.
aftertaste, it's like
Mhm.
too sweet. Coke Zero tastes like Coke to me. Strong,
Yeah,
delicious,
yeah.
like myself.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for answering. I hope you got your Dunkin' today.
I did. I had my latte
Okay,
this morning after the gym.
perfect.
Don't know
All
if
right.
that was a great idea, but here we are.
Hey, it just means that, you balanced it out. That's all.
Yes.
It's all good. All right. Well, thank you again for answering the questions. Now we'll move on to all things Dana.
Mhm.
So, Dana, again, we've already established that you're out there doing your thing, doing
Yeah.
everything Speak Up Dana, doing
Yes.
everything hilariously unemployed when it
Yeah.
comes to your podcast. So
Mhm.
I'd love for you to just kick off with what it means when it comes to Speak Up Dana, because I know you've done that even pre or before you
Mhm.
were leaving your previous role. So what
Mhm.
made you get that going and what does that mean to you or for
Well, I
you?
didn't leave them, they left me. No, just
Okay.
kidding.
All right. All right.
I was actually laid off from my former employer
Yeah.
who I absolutely love and adore, and I learned so much through my time being in that organization. So Speak Up Dana is my brand. So everything that
Mhm.
I do, including my podcast, falls under the umbrella of Speak Up Dana, and you can find all of my shenanigans at speakupdana.com. But as far as the brand, it encompasses my DEI consulting, coaching, speaking, facilitating, teaching, engaging, you name it. And then as of 7 weeks ago, it now includes a podcast as well, titled The Hilariously Unemployed, because we all know, I just told y'all I was laid off. So I find humor in all of my trials and tribulations through my life. And I wanted to be able to bring something to other people who were dealing with that, because we know the economy is not the strongest right now. And we've seen tons of people impacted by layoffs and shifts in the workforce. So the entire time I was going through my process, I was really thinking about how I could help others. And I know for me, humor is a way that I am able to channel some of my energy, specifically when I'm not in a great space. So there birthed the idea of the hilariously unemployed, and it's really taken on a life of itself. It's my absolute favorite thing that I do every Friday. And I'm so excited about it. I don't want to keep gushing about the hilariously unemployed, but it's truly my baby. And I'm truly so excited that other people are receiving it so well.
Yeah, no, I've jumped on and listened, and I think your guests have been great. And I think that, you know, to be able to laugh a little bit about the process of being unemployed is good because it's not funny.
It's not funny. It's really sad, but we're getting through it and we're providing resources for those who are looking for their next opportunity. We're providing strategy. We're talking about technologies. We even have people coming on saying, hey, my employer has opportunities. So we're connecting the dots for people who are looking for their next employer.
That's good. And being that, I mean, yeah, you're doing your own gig, but if you were to get a job with somebody that was the right job, I mean, you might find that you just really love doing this, speaking and everything else. Who knows? We'll
I
see.
mean, it has been quite amazing since the time I've been laid off. My actual last employment date was June the 30th of this year. I have been booked and busy doing so many things since then. The community that I've created through transparency has really rallied around me. So many amazing friends, so many great supporters, people that I don't even know have reached out. The guests that I've had on my podcast have been amazing. Two of my shows have been sponsored. So I'm so thankful and grateful that I'm building something that people recognize as necessary in the space.
Yeah. No, and I think you're spot on that it is necessary because nobody knows anything about being unemployed until they are.
Yeah, yeah, and this is not my first rodeo. I had left a really large organization years back, and it took me a year to get another role. And not to toot my own horn, but I'm on big boss talk because I'm a big boss, and my resume was stacked, but I could
Yeah.
not get an interview. I could not get a call back. And I knew from that time I was never going to be in that position again. I was going to create a brand that followed me wherever it is I went. So I had to start to identify myself outside of the organization, but also in alignment with the organization that I was serving. And now, this time, I'm so transparent about the fact that, hey, I was laid off. Hey, these are the things that I want to do, that people are
Mm,
reaching out to me and providing me with those opportunities.
yeah. No, that's a good tip actually. Like you have to, I mean, we're in a time where you really have to embrace your own brand, right?
Yeah.
You have to find what you love,
Hmm.
like figure that out, and then embrace that and let other people know what that is, right?
Hmm.
Because once you get to a place that maybe you're unfortunately unemployed, I just saw Adrian Danila, he is unemployed again. He just posted today that he's yet again unemployed.
Adrian,
Um,
come on the hilariously unemployed.
I
Yeah.
think he probably should
Yeah.
because this is his second time in the last year that that's happened to him. So, which is so strange, right? Like again, just like you have built a brand and have a great background and everything, he too does. And it's like, how is that even possible?
It's and the conversation that I'm going to have this episode that's coming up on Friday. By the way, if you're interested in sitting in on a live recording of the hilariously unemployed, they're done every Friday on LinkedIn Live Audio at 3 p.m. ET. So this episode that I'm talking about is really shaping the conversation because I've talked to people who've been laid off, but I haven't had a conversation with someone who had to be the bearer of that bad news and really talk about what that
Mm,
process is like. So I really just want to humanize the entire experience so that people understand what happens. And
yeah,
while Adrian is probably an amazing employee, it probably had nothing to do with him and just the
yeah.
organization or the economy. Similar to my situation, like it's not us, it's not personal, although it feels
Right.
that way.
Oh yeah, feels terrible.
Really, something that is a tough decision that has to be done.
Right. Yeah, no, that's true. And but it feels terrible.
I know it does. It feels very personal. You mean me? Very qualified to do this job. Whatever do you mean?
Yeah, I've had it I've gone through that and I hadn't gone through it before, and when it happened, I will say I don't think I handled myself super great,
Did you act up,
honestly.
Evan? Please tell
I
me.
I think I got a little mad. I
Did
got
you
a
throw
little
anything
mad.
and knock over a chair?
I did not throw anything. No chairs were thrown, but I did get pretty ticked off. Like
Listen to the hilariously unemployed to get tips on how to deal with the layoff.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, so moving forward, I wouldn't do that, but
Where's
it was it was not enjoyable experience.
it
And
feels
I
very
would say, like, even the way they I don't know, it felt like parts of it felt a little bit terrible on from the other side, the way they went about it, but
yeah.
mine was also a unique experience. So,
Mhm.
any anyways.
We may need
So,
to have
yeah.
an episode, Evan.
Maybe so. Um, but what are some of the main tips you'd besides, building your brand and things like that, what you've
Mhm.
learned from other people and your own experience, when it comes to unemployment, looking
Yeah,
for work,
yeah,
what kinds of tips and encouragements can you give to
yeah.
people?
First things first, I say create a routine. So for me, specifically because I'm a person who has ADHD, so routines really help me and guide me through my day. And once you're unemployed, it's like, oh gosh, okay, this first week I could lay around, I can sleep
Mhm,
in, I could binge watch Netflix all day. But you have to get your body used to the fact that you are unemployed, but there are still opportunities out there waiting for you. So
mhm,
I would say to start your day at the time that you would usually start your day, maybe an hour later because you don't have to get up at the crack of dawn. But be intentional about what it is you're doing, whether that's having to work on your resume or to post on LinkedIn or to even have different conversations with different friends or family members. It's really important to keep your morale up, and that routine will help you from getting into that funk or just getting so used to not having to do anything.
yeah,
I would also say give yourself some grace. So it takes a long time to apply for a lot of these jobs. I mean, some of them are
yes,
easy, you can easily apply, but some of them are not. So I do not recommend that you apply for 10 jobs in one day because you're going to be burnt out. Set some hours aside to source for roles that you're actually interested in because I know when we get that news, we just start applying everywhere because we feel like I have to have a
mm,
job. I have to have a job right now.
right,
So I would set aside time within your day, within your week to say, this is dedicated time to submit applications. This is dedicated time to research opportunities that will benefit me. And then my final tip is ChatGPT. I am team AI. I know a lot of people don't love it, but I do because it gives you a lot of your time back. It's not a cheat code. You still have to input things, you still have to tweak things, and you still have to make it your own. But instead of having to make a cover page for every single job that maybe has different keywords that needs to be implemented, you can ask ChatGPT to do that for you simply by taking the job description and say, "Hey, please tailor my resume to reach this job description or to give me a good chance at having my resume reviewed." So
yeah.
those three strategies that I say have definitely helped me. My guests have mentioned those as well, have been beneficial to them.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense to me because the fact is, on the employer side, they're not scanning these. They're having a computer scan your
Correct.
resume and your so it's like in order to crack the code on that side, you
Mhm.
have to do the same thing they're doing.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? They have a computer scanning a resume for a
Yeah,
keyword.
you gotta fight back. You gotta choose your fighter, and your fighter could be
Yeah,
ChatGPT to get you past that because what's most important is that you get that phone call or that you get that interview. What you
right.
have on your resume is gonna be your key to opening the door, but you are the caveat to landing that position. So use
Mhm.
the tools to get yourself in the door and then allow yourself to shine once you're in there.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that. I don't love AI in all regards, but I can agree when you're fighting against a piece of
Mhm.
technology, you might as well use the same technology because Otherwise, you're guessing.
Yeah, you're guessing and you're wasting a lot of your time.
Yeah.
And my ultimate goal with my podcast is to get somebody at least interviewed. But of course, I want to get somebody hired. I want someone to hear a person on my podcast and say, I think they'd be a good fit for my organization and give them that job.
Mm-hmm.
So I really want y'all to get jobs. I mean, it started
Mm.
because I wanted me to get one, but now I'm very busy with a lot of things. So I don't know that that's my next step, but I really want someone to land their next role through that podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope everybody gets a little more transparent when it comes to their situation, when it comes to unemployment, because
Mhm.
each person that I have seen do that, I think there's been a huge benefit for them.
For sure.
People come, nobody wants somebody to suffer being unemployed. Nobody wants that. Like, because if you've been there, you know it
Mhm.
sucks. And
Mhm.
so you don't want that for other people, especially people if they have a family and stuff. It's like, no thanks, not good, not a good time.
Yeah, everybody's heart kind of breaks for you and they want to be all hands on deck and know what it is that they can do for you. So, what I did with my announcement when I announced that I was laid off, I put on LinkedIn exactly what they could do to help me. So that
Yeah, I
would be
saw that.
connect me with other people in your organization that are interested in DEI, or connect me with speaking engagements, or send me memes to make me laugh, or, support my
Yeah,
coffee habit.
there you go.
Those
Hey,
are the
and some people have, so there you go.
people literally have. So yes, it's amazing.
No, that's awesome. Hey, and it probably brings a little smile to your face and encouragement when you get like an email or a text message that says you just got sent a gift card or whatever, and it's like,
Actually, a shepherd is like the sneakiest thing ever. And she's like, gifting is her love language. So I literally will be on the phone talking to her. We'll be talking about something. And then my email will ding and it'll be like, she has sent you a gift. And I'm like, why are you doing this? But it's because she loves me and gifting is her love language. But she she is one of those people's like, I think I should pay for Dana's Dunkin' Donuts tomorrow. And she will.
fantastic. Well, today you're gonna get even more because uh most people don't know, but after the show, you're gonna get a little boss bucks. And those
Okay.
boss bucks can be used for anything that is within that ecosystem of spending. And one of
Mhm.
those is Duncan. So coming your way is a little bit of Duncan love. All right. So
Yay! Y'all have no idea how excited I am. Like, if I show you my Dunkin' account, the amount of points because I'm ordering all the time. I'm very excited for that, Evan, and I cannot wait. I'll be sure to take a picture when I receive it.
perfect. Awesome. So, and I think you already received bling, boss bling, all the
Yeah,
things
I have lost
from,
from NAA from when we
yeah,
went to
yeah.
compartmentalize.
But you're gonna get a few other things too
Okay.
along with that. But immediately you will get
I mean, I
the
love a
love of
gift, and
Duncan.
my birthday is on Tuesday, so if
Well,
anybody would like any
happy
gifts,
early. Yes, send her some Duncan, people. All right. It will, yes, exactly. That would be her gift. She would love it. So send it her way. If everybody just sent her $5, that, or I guess it's your order is $8, you said?
$8.19 to be exact. I mean,
All
if I
right.
get an extra shot of espresso, we're talking about $10, but I keep it
All right.
cute mostly.
Okay. So like for her birthday, send her a $10 gift card. All right. And then you're covering her drink. There you go.
Thank you. You heard it here first on Boss Talks. Evan is breaking the news.
Breaking news, everyone. Dana needs $10 for her drinks. It is her birthday, Tuesday, blow
I
her
mean,
up, people. Blow
Virgo
her up.
season. Myself and Beyonce will be celebrating over the weekend.
Nice. Is it
Oh
Beyonce's
yes,
birthday too?
thank you.
Yeah. No, she's great. She
I
sent me
enjoy
a
Starbucks too, but Dunkin'
okay.
is my
Yeah.
love language, Stephanie. I'm sorry. I like the fruity drinks from Starbucks though. And if I
Oh,
want a
okay.
frozen, I can definitely do a frap.
Got it. Yeah. No, they have some good drinks.
Mhm.
I typically get like a cold brew from Starbucks
Are you
personally.
a pumpkin spice guy, Evan?
I'm not like big about it. I mean, I like what Tara last week talked about, the shaken espresso oat
The iced
milk
oat milk
latte.
shaken espresso, that now they got a hit on their hands with that one. So I will have that from Starbucks if I can't get to a Dunkin'.
Yeah.
Let me just tell you, the oat milk, if you're not getting oat milk in your coffee, like you should, because it's so thick and it really is more like a meal than just a cup of coffee because it becomes like it's almost like a smoothie. So try the oat milk, people. Let me know what you think.
Yeah. No, it's a good one. It's a good one. And
Yeah.
any of those cold brew drinks with the cold foam at
Oh,
the top, pretty good.
cold foam.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So those are my go-tos when it comes to coffee. I like those. I'm not a big like latte fan or anything like that, to be honest.
No.
Yeah,
Try to order
not
at
really.
Dunkin'. Let me know what you think. You
All
have
right,
it.
I'll have to listen back. I'll get it exactly right, and then when I'm around a Dunkin', because again, not here,
Oh, yes.
um,
When you travel.
I'll try it out. Yeah.
Mhm.
When I'm in, I'm sure they have them in Vegas. So when I'm in Optech this coming, let's say November, I think
Mhm.
I will check it out. So,
Yeah.
well, Dana, when it comes to the different engagements that you've been doing outside of your podcast specifically,
Mhm.
speak up, Dana. What kinds of things have you had the privilege of doing as of late?
Oh, I did a mental health session for a company called WorkRamp. They have a women's employee resource group. So I recently did that. I am as a certified employee resource group leadership trainer. So I've had the pleasure of doing some training on employee resource groups. If you all are not familiar, these are voluntary employee-led groups whose mission is really to support the company's efforts, but also to create safe spaces for those in the organizations who may not be in the majority. So I founded a Black employee resource group for my last employer. So I truly found my passion in those. So I've supported other organizations in either starting or igniting or engaging their current employee resource groups. I'm speaking for NAA, DEI Week. I have that coming up. So I'll be doing a webinar that I proposed for them. I am speaking at DMAA with Ashia and Monica Frazier. Ashia has been on the show. Monica is coming up. We are branded as TLC of multifamily. That is training, leadership, and culture. I'm the C because culture and engagement is truly my thing. So we'll be in Detroit for their Prism Awards. We're going to do a workshop for their education the day before, and then we'll join them for their award ceremony. I'm going to be doing webinars for the Arkansas Apartment Association, working with Ty there. I am a fellow at the Diversity Institute, so I hold classes there with the amazing Cecilia Stanton Adams. I do a lot of things, and most recently, I've become a coach at Elevate Leadership Academy, so I'll be supporting their clients with DEI coaching.
Fantastic. Well, I'm glad that people are utilizing your expertise and that you're getting the opportunities to get in front of people and share those things and just make us all a little better. So
Mm.
I do appreciate that that's been happening for you.
I am so appreciative. And I just want to thank my LinkedIn community, my friends in real life, my friends in virtual life. You all have truly been a caveat to a lot of my success here recently. I am so thankful and grateful. I see y'all in the chat, Adelia, Faith, Aishia. I will see you in Detroit, Megan. So I am just so thankful, even you, Evan, for stopping by my podcast, having me on this platform. Community has truly gotten me through. So
Yeah. No, that's good. Yeah, it is important when you're I mean, even if honestly when you're self-employed, it kind of feels like perpetual unemployment because you're always like looking for the next kick.
you don't stop. Okay. The amount of speaker proposals I've submitted for every association everywhere. Please, if you see my name come through, say yes, pick those up.
And can I just add, don't expect her to do everything for free.
Oh, no. Mm-mm.
When
I'm
you're, but if you approach
here
her,
for
but
it,
if you
but
approach her, don't waste her time. You know, like she doesn't have a job. This is her job. Don't
correct.
ask her to do things for free.
If you listen to my podcast, you will quickly understand that I am trying to be pretty and paid. I'm already pretty, so let's get me paid.
I mean, it's one of those things where it's like you hear people talk about, why a certain professional is worth a certain amount of money, right?
Mhm.
It's like, because I have this many years of experience and knowledge and expertise to provide that you don't have. And
Yeah.
so for me to give you that and
Mhm.
share that with you, I need to feed myself.
Yeah, and I've never considered myself a coach, and people kept saying to me, like, "You could coach somebody on this, you could teach somebody how to do this." So, specifically Ty, she's like, You could teach people how to do this." So, I've been teaching people how to do the things that I do, or, how to do things that they need to do, and it works for me. I'm such a giver, and since I have ADHD, a lot of times I rather do other people's work than my own because I like to procrastinate and I work really well under pressure. So I'm like, what is it that you need done? Let's talk about it. Let's implement a strategy. Let's get it done. And I'll figure out all of my work on the back end.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm sure you're just killing it. So, and I don't know if you saw Aishia, she made the comment that you respectfully don't need a triple shot of espresso. So
I
apparently she's saying that you have enough energy.
I respectfully disagree. She knows the days that I get that extra shot of espresso too. It's like, Dana, hi. Did you have an extra shot of espresso? I did. I'm powered by it. Let's go. What are we doing?
You're extra amped at that point.
I am extra amped. I feel like I'm killing it, but I don't know if everybody else feels like I'm killing it on the days.
Yeah. Well, I mean, having a little extra energy is always good. I look back at some of my really early episodes of this show,
Mhm, mhm.
and I'm a pretty chill person. Let's just be honest.
Facts.
I am not like, Sonic the Hedgehog. I'm
Mhm.
more like I don't even know, the dude or something. I don't know. Like, so I watch previous episodes and I'm like, I could really stand to elevate the level of energy when it comes to my execution of the show. So I have
Yeah.
really tried and strive to improve upon that. I've tried to
Mhm.
bring more energy and all the things. And I'm the one that edits them all. So I'm very self critical.
Oh.
So there's all that.
Oh, for the editors of the things, I too, when I'm editing my podcast, I'm like, "Oh, why'd you say that? Let's cut it out. No, let's leave it. It's amazing." I will say that, energy is my thing, but you bring on guests who have amazing energy. So keep being yourself, Evan. It works.
Hmm.
You are a boss. You are
All
talking.
right. All
You're bringing
right.
bosses. We are talking. So it,
That's true.
it works. It works.
That's true. I guess if I was bringing people with high energy and then I was just trying to meet their energy, like, or I did because I just had all that energy, that
We
would
would
be
stick
quite,
to that though. Yeah. We'd be like,
this is too much. Bring it down a notch or two. Yeah. Yeah. No, this is true. All right. So the last area of conversation, you kind of brought it up a little earlier when it comes to building community, and that was the area of transparency.
yeah.
But you were really tying that to things like inclusion and being able to create an environment for people to
Mhm.
thrive. And that means all people, right?
Yeah.
So when it comes to transparency, what is it that is so important for that specific topic?
So for me, a lot of my career, I felt like I wasn't. I was covering, I wasn't my, we say most authentic self. I really wasn't. I was trying to blend in, fit in, do everything everybody else did. And a lot of times I wouldn't say my truths or I wouldn't say the things that needed to be said. Flash forward to who I am today, you can't stop me from being myself, even on podcasts. And I am so transparent about everything. So I talk about my struggles with mental health. I talk about ADHD. I talk about things that I've had challenges with. I talk about being hilariously unemployed. And for me, it's welcomed people into my life. So when I
Mhm.
share that, hey, I struggle with this thing or this has happened to me, people will say, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know that you had ADHD," or "I didn't know you have anxiety. I can't really tell. You're such an extrovert. I'm dealing with this. I'm dealing with that." I'm able to have some really in-depth conversations and support people in other ways. I
Mhm.
also say that transparency is huge in the culture of organizations. So when you think about your onboarding process and you're bringing new employees through that door, it's very important that you provide them with the truth and you introduce them to people who keep it real in your organization and are transparent. Because imagine if the first person they meet is a person like me who's like, "Hey, in my career, I've suffered with anxiety, depression. I also have ADHD. This is my role at the organization." And they're like, "Oh gosh, I have a learning disability, or I have this thing, or I maybe am differently abled and need assistance with this." Now I'm so comfortable in sharing that, and I'm not trying to figure it out and don't want to tell anybody in the organization and not getting the support I need, because Dana already set the platform and let us know, hey, you can be yourself. You can be transparent. This is the culture that we're starting to create here. And if you started on day one, everybody that funnels through that door will continue to create that culture in your organization for the people that you hire after.
Yeah. No, that's good. And I think what's also good about that is even when somebody is transparent, it doesn't necessarily mean everybody else is going to start talking about the fact that they
Okay.
have ADHD or anxiety or whatever, because they still may not feel comfortable bringing it up
Okay.
or letting everybody know that that's true. But
Mm-hmm.
what it will do is it will more normalize the fact that people have these things,
Mm-hmm.
and that it doesn't need to be this thing that you have to like feel bad about or have even more stress about because you have to like pretend like it's not true.
Correct.
So I think that's what we also need to keep in mind is sometimes when we do that kind of stuff, people almost expect everybody to just get really transparent themselves, but
Yeah,
it's
and it
just
might not
not.
be, your transparency might not be the same as mine. Like,
Yeah.
you might not share those things, but it may offer you an opportunity to say, "Hey, I'm actually really introverted and I
Mhm.
want to contribute to the conversation, but being off mute or speaking up is
Yeah.
not really my avenue. Can I write my answers in the chat? I still want
Right.
to be heard." So you really just create an atmosphere where people are able to communicate in whatever regard
Mhm.
that is.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's important. And I think, because we've gone to the video thing, we've so often heard a lot about the, requirement of turning on your camera,
Yeah,
things like that. That causes anxiety and stress for a lot of some people.
seriously. If you're not a camera on type person and you can't do your best work that way, if you can let your employer know, "Hey, I'm working really diligently and really hard, but having the camera on adds an extra layer for me, and I'm so
Hmm.
conscious of it that it's impacting my work. Can I
Yeah.
have my camera off? And I promise you I'm gonna kill it."
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. No, I think, and that's where transparency between you and your boss is important, right?
Mhm.
But if you create from the top transparency and the ability for people to feel like they can approach you, that's where it's important as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Is there any other ways that you've seen that being very important? Like when it comes to, there's obviously the things that you brought up, like
Mhm.
um, different things like ADHD and anxiety,
Mhm.
mental health type things. But then
Mhm.
there's other things like you even said you started a group at Zumper.
Yeah.
Um, how does that tie in?
So founding the Black Employee Resource Group, it really allowed me to have a voice inside of an organization that I'd never been able to share. I never been able to specifically and strategically share my experience, my story as a Black woman, sometimes in organizations or even in the world. So, by founding that, I opened up space for not just myself to share my story, all the other Black employees and our allies and those who identify with other groups. So now they feel comfortable in saying, hey, as an employee, these are my pronouns. This is how I want you to speak to me. This is what I'd like you to talk about. And then we started doing trainings and education. And really, it became something so amazing. I don't even have words for it, but the amount of things that we were able to do and the way that employee resource groups can really transform the culture of an organization is so special to me. And I am an advocate for them. If your organization, has them, or if you're thinking about them, reach out to me. I love to talk about them a lot.
Hmm.
Um, and I really think that they provide a space. So they provide a safe space for that marginalized employee, but they also provide a space for allies to come in and support that person or gain some insight, hear their stories, maybe get some education. So it's a very powerful tool.
That's great. And I know there's people out there that make comments not in a
Mhm.
positive way towards the idea of safe spaces and um this type of stuff. Can
Mhm.
you explain and try to help articulate why these things are important? Because I think there's some people that just don't give it any
Yeah.
brain space and they
Yeah.
just think, why is that needed?
Yeah, you have to think about your levels of diversity. You have
Yeah.
to think about how you are different and in what spaces you are different. And then think about in those spaces when you feel like you don't belong. So, whether
Hmm.
that's in a room where everybody is wearing red and you show up wearing yellow, you're either going to feel like, oh my gosh, I'm standing out and everyone is looking at me, or oh my gosh,
Hmm.
I don't fit in and everybody is staring at me. So
Right.
you really have to get to understand people's personal struggles and people's
Hmm.
walks. If you've always been the majority, you don't know what it's like to not be the majority and some of the things that we think about or the things that we do different. So really take the time to just listen to people, talk to somebody
Hmm.
different, sit with them at lunch. If it's somebody that you don't typically speak to them, learn about them. That's really how we create community and you can start
Hmm.
to have those more transparent conversations. I'm not saying you have to go up to every person who doesn't look like you, but what I am saying is to allow space for those who don't talk like you, walk like you, those who are differently able, those who don't have your same privilege or your same view of life. Get to know them. It could really open up your eyes and change your perspectives on so many things.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thanks for saying that.
You're welcome.
Um, and as a person who has been in the majority,
Mhm,
I I've briefly felt what it's like to be somebody that's different by
mhm,
traveling. So like I went to a few Asian countries
mhm.
and you stand out. And
For sure you do. Yeah.
and so like it is in that moment where I was like, okay, this is interesting. This is an interesting feeling to feel like I everybody notices me, right?
Mhm,
And it wasn't necessarily in a negative way, but it was just like like especially like little kids were like wanting to sell me something or whatever, like because they viewed me as somebody from another place who was
mhm,
there to spend money or whatever,
mhm.
and they just assumed that because I stood out.
You're different,
So
you
yeah,
know? It's
yeah,
polarizing to see your difference if you haven't seen it. Like, if you're just in your bubble and you've always been around people who are like you, it's very polarizing to go into a space where you are not the majority there and you see things differently. It's like, "Oh,
yeah,
wow, I really didn't think about it in that way." So, I would say
yeah.
open up your eyes, open up your ears, and definitely open up your hearts to difference.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing on all that. I appreciate it very much. And it's always good to learn from one another and hear people's perspectives. And doesn't mean everybody changes their mind or whatever, but it's always good to still be open to what others have to say. So I appreciate
Correct.
you. So thank you very much for that. And Is there anything, I mean, our audience, we do have some people watching. If they have any questions for Dana, the floor is open. And if there's anything else that you personally want to say, Dana, I'll give you a few moments to speak on that as well.
All right, here's my elevator pitch and
All
why
right.
you are going to fall in love with me, okay? My name is Dana Duckworth, aka Speak Up Dana, more affectionately known as the Big Speaker. I bring this level of energy and engagement to each and everything that I do, from the hard topics to the ones that we all love. I'm that girl for you. So if you have anything coming up within your organization that I can be a partner with you in, please don't hesitate to reach out. Visit my website, speakupdana.com. Email me, speakupdana@gmail. Follow my TikTok, speakupdana. Download, subscribe, and leave your girl a 5-star review on all of your podcast platforms for the hilariously unemployed. And whatever you do, make sure you get me paid because I'm already pretty.
Love it. Sounds like you were working on that.
I'm a big speaker, Evan.
It's beautiful. Love it. Love it. All right. Well, and to end it there, I'll just share it. We got Monica Frazier with Big Speaker, hashtag.
Big speaker. Shout out to Monica Frazier. She's the founder of Melanin and Multifamily. She will be on Boss Talks very soon. It's an episode that you do not want to miss. I call her the professor. She is that girl. So tune in.
All right. I can't wait. It's only a few weeks out. So I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, thank you so much, Lori.
Yeah. Lori, thanks for tuning in as well. Yes, there's a lot of people. So this is the part that I love is there's a lot of the multifamily industry that I've been able to meet through this show, through my guests, and just build a network in a weaving of just a multifamily. And I just love that that's what we're called is multifamily because it is something I like to embrace. Yes.
It definitely multiplies. You're on episode 58. Like every guest has a suggestion for a next guest and the next guest and the next guest. When I started my podcast, I was like, okay, I can talk to my friend.
Right. Right. Well, and that was part of it. Like one of my catalysts was Leah Love. She was back number 7, I think, maybe 6 episode. But out of her have come many guests, and then out of those guests have come other guests. And so it's fantastic. Because I didn't know, just like you, I was like, who the heck am I going to talk to? I don't know everybody, I'm not.
Now you're a pretty big deal, Evan. You're ringing some bells, you're a pretty big deal. Okay.
I'm getting to know people.
We know the boss of the Boss Talks.
I appreciate that. Thank you. All right. Well, just like Dana was a fantastic guest, obviously, here on Boss Talks, you too can be on Boss Talks. I want to add you to the roster of the amazing people that have been on the show and just grow this family of people who are bosses in their world, their profession, way they lead, the things they're passionate about. I want to know your story, and others do too. So if you're interested, reach out to me. I would love to have you on the show every Wednesday, 12 Pacific Standard Time, 3 Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Yes. And right here on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. So get on here and we will have a good conversation and all will enjoy it as well. So thanks again, Dana, for being here. And until next week, it's been Boss Talks.
Bye.